is only war.
What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We won a grand tournament over the last weekend. We played Chaos Space Marines. We're going to do a 5-video event because it was 5 games. We went the only person to go 5-0. And I wanted to share with you guys kind of tactics, what we did good, what we could have done better, the lists we played against. And the last game was a very, very super competitive game. We actually beat the guy who won Atlantic City Open this year. First time I got to meet him and play against him. Really cool dude. But we're going to go over each game for you guys. I'm going to save the beginning of this clip. So if you guys have already seen this, fast forward to where the video starts. But we're going to go over the list specifically in every single video, just so you guys know exactly what we did for each video. So if you guys play a specific army, you can click on the video and see everything you guys need. So guys, appreciate it. Let's get into the video. First, I'd like to thank all of my Patreons. I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. You guys help grow the channel. We did just hit 7,000 subscribers as of making this video. So you'll see kind of how much we grew since then. But first off, we're going to go into the merch. So like I said, if you guys already seen this, fast forward to the video. But we got merch, $1 for Dirtbag Dice. We got a bunch of different colors. We have green, orange, silver, blue, and a black, red color dice, which is, they all look sick. And all these stickers we sell with the dice. And then we have models such as the Kaldis Assassin and Codiez. We are working on other models for 3D prints as well, but they are pretty similar to what you see on the tabletop, so you can use them as proxies. And then also the objective markers, if you see them in any of the games, they are sold in the link below. If you guys are interested in getting some new objective markers, you can pick any one of the pictures you see to my left here and put them on an objective mark and change the color for each one as well. They're all customizable. So that's the merch. But let's get into the video. First off, we're going to go over the list. So starting off at the top, we bring Abaddon the Spoiler. Now this isn't needed. There's a lot of lists out there that run triple Curse Cultists with triple Lords and Chosen, stuff like that. We didn't bring any of the Chosen or any of the Lords in this matchup or in this grand tournament. We were mainly focused on Abaddon and the Accursed Cultists. And if you could deal with the Accursed Cultists, then you still have to deal with Abaddon. So Abaddon specifically with this list, you bring him for the 4+ invuln save. It gets around a lot of different stuff. It's a 6-inch aura, so every single turn you're going to have basically one of your Accursed Cultist models within 6 inches of Abaddon. So that way you can have your entire unit have a 4+ invuln save. So it skews the math so much by having a little model tank a 4+ invuln melt a shot to the face multiple times coming in. So the way to kill this is mass volume of attacks compared to big shots trying to kill big guys in the unit. Because then you just take it on a little dark commune model and they die, and then boom, you don't really lose anything from it. So he's in there specifically for the 4+ invuln, and he takes care of any major tanks or huge units that you're really afraid of getting to you, because he's kind of just camping behind a wall, and then you need to launch him out when you need to launch him out. But Abaddon still super good, 310 points. And then we got the Dark Commune. We have 2 of them as Undivided, and one of them is Nurgle. I started to run the Nurgle Undivided because when you start them on the table, you at least have a unit that can't be shot at outside 12 inches. And it really helps with turn 1 and turn 2 by taking over the center or taking over an objective that you want to just camp your 30 OBSEC unit onto, and then people have to get close to deal with them, or if they get too close, you just advance in charge and get in their face with your Nurgle unit. Now, they don't do too much damage compared to the Undivided, but they're there just to be a nuisance and kind of control the board in the center and on a far objective, because they can't be shot with the Nurgle strat. Now, we have 3 units of these guys because they naturally give the unit a 5+ invuln save, but once per game you can do the advance and charge, +1 hit, +1 wound, which kills almost anything in the game, especially with full rerolls to hit, full rerolls to wound for 1 CP. So 2 units of Undivided, 1 with Nurgle. Then Cultist mobs, I just love this in Chaos Space Marines because they have sticky objective. So you always start 1 unit of these guys on your home field objective, so that way you at least make it sticky, so if they do happen to die, you still have a sticky objective that you can still get points. This has saved so many games getting that extra 5 or 10 points just because you have your home field objective. Again, it also helps with secondaries, where if you control your home field objective and then control center objective, you get points for your secondary game as well. So unit of cultists, almost 100% in all my lists. This list has 2 curse cultists, just so you can have 2 extra blob squads that one can do for blocking out your opponent. Move blocking, which we're going to do a video on, but move blocking, running to the center, stealing an objective, or just kind of getting secondary objectives in the corners if you want to put one into reserves as well. But again, they're both Nurgle just because the Nurgle on your defensive units is so good, because if you need them to survive for points, you can't be shot outside 12 inches. So let's say they're bombarding you with Plague Burst Crawlers from super far away, you could just spend 1 CP. Now they can't shoot at your Nurgle unit on turn 1 because you really want to make that home field objective sticky. So a unit of Legionnaires to piggyback with Abaddon. Abaddon does kind of need a bodyguard unit, so you can just spend 90 points for an extra 10 wounds, all with a 4-up invuln save because they're going to be attached to Abaddon, and they have all the marks. So they're able to advance and charge if you need to, fall back, shoot and charge, get exploding 5s or 5s to shooting, or 5s in melee because they're corn. So they get all the marks, which is great. You can bring a last cannon. I'm probably going to switch it up and get rid of the last cannon, but again, I'm not sure. Just one extra random shot that can explode on 5s. Strength 12 -1 d6 +1 damage is not bad, just to have an extra long shot. It might be the first one to die in your unit, but that's fine. And why you bring the Legionnaires is you put them with Abaddon. So if the model is on an objective, let's say you charge a unit and that unit's on an objective, Abaddon gains the full rerolls to wound because of the Legionnaires. So he has devastating wounds, 3 damage, AP 4. So he's running in, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s because of Undivided, and then getting full rerolls to wound, most of the time wounding on 2s. So he's just doing so many devastating wounds to the unit that you're attacking because of the Legionnaires. The last thing that you bring the Legionnaires for is because of the reroll for the Dark Pact. So Abaddon gets me a 2-up Dark Pact CP. So if you fail your Dark Pact, you can have these guys re-roll it because of the icon in the unit. So you roll 5 up. If you don't roll it, you get 1 free reroll because of the icon. And then if you pass it, then you roll 2+. So many times I failed a 5 up, and then you re-roll it because of the Legionnaires, and then boom, you get your Dark Pact for a 2-up save or 2-up CP, which is huge. So then obviously you have your 3 accursed cultists attached with your Dark Communes. 2 are Undivided, 1 is Nurgle. Spikes, very good for secondary mission. They're 85 points. They're also Nurgle because you could bring Plasma Pistol and 2 Plasma Guns. So basically, you're coming in on the side table edge with 5 Plasma Shots, overcharging, obviously, and Dark Pacting. So you're exploding on 5s, and then you're Strength 8, so you're just nuking Marines most of the time coming in from the board edge. I've killed 5, 6, 7 Marines with these guys coming in, hitting on 3s, exploding on 5s, and then wounding on 2s. AP 3, 2 damage. It's kind of scary what these guys potentially could do, plus all the bolter shots, which I almost always forget about. But really good coming in from the side table edge. But what really makes them good is you can block out so much of your backfield with them. So as long as you keep them within 6 inches of the board edge, you can take them off the board edge at the end of your opponent's turn and bring them back on. So almost every single turn you're taking them off, because once you get your secondaries drawn, you can then bring them back on either the same spot, just because if you need to block out the board edge, you block out the board edge. But if you need them that turn, let's say investigate signals, behind enemy lines, engage in all fronts, or just block out an edge, you can bring them on, keep them 2 inches away from each other, bring them in 6 inches, and then boom, that's a huge 25-inch gap that you can block out of deep strikes or something like that. So they're really good for secondaries and really good at blocking out the backfield. And if you need them to come in late game to shoot something, they could do that as well. 2 Forge Fiends, because they're just super good for their points still. 1 Nurgle. This one should be Undivided, so I changed it in, I think, my tournament list. So I changed it to Undivided because it performed so well in test games. So I'm actually changing it right now. So the Undivided, it is always a 1 in reserves. The Nurgle one starts on the table, so it can't be shot at turn 1. So you put it behind the wall or something, and you always want to make sure you can walk at 8 inches and potentially get a shot off on something. But that one's starting on the table because it has the Nurgle strat, so you won't be able to be shot back outside 12 inches. So the Undivided comes in from a table edge almost always, and then gets a line of sight to what you want to kill. It's made to kill 10 squads of Terminators. So 10-man units or Terminators, that's basically what the Forge Fiends are made to kill. But also killing tanks and stuff because of the Undivided you spend 1 CP to reroll hits and wounds. So your devastating wounds just get carried over like extreme because of the rerolls. So 1 Nurgle, 1 Undivided with the Forge Fiends. And then we have 3 units of 3 Nurglings. They're just super good for blocking out secondaries, turn 1, objectives, all that stuff. So they're OBSEC 0. They can't go through walls, so make sure you remember that. You start them. I usually start 2 on the table and 1 in Deep Strike. So depending on if you need to move block or block out turn 1, like let's say you're facing Space Wolves or Orcs, you're going to want to try and block out, move block your opponent as much as possible. Nurglings are really good with that, and they have -1 to hit within 6 inches in combat, which a lot of people forget about. So it's a huge aura of -1 to hit with all everything, I think, besides vehicles and monsters. So really good aura for a 35-point unit that can infiltrate and also help out with the Seekers. So the Seekers have the pregame move 9 inches, but you can't pregame move within 9 inches of another unit. So if your opponent has infiltrators and you have infiltrators, you're going to want to put down your infiltrators first and spread them out. So that way you have a little path. So your Nurglings can then, or your Seekers can move up behind them turn 1 if you have turn 1. If you have turn 2, where you don't go second or first, you can move them defensively, the Seekers, behind a wall or a ruin or whatever, so they can't be shot turn 1. But if you do at first, your Seekers can pregame move 9 inches up, and they're not blocked out by other infiltrators because of your Nurglings, and then they can move up 14 and go do something, whether it be a secondary or move block, which you're going to see a lot in this tournament, or charge something really small turn 1 just to get them across the table. So Seekers played huge stuff in this 5 match GT over the weekend. And then we have Celeste. She is just super good into Eldar, and she's really good for secondaries just because she can come back up on a 2+, and she has 9 freaking wounds for some reason. T6, 9 wounds, 4 up invuln save, and doesn't kill a lot. I've noticed, like, doesn't really kill anything. She's just mainly there to come down, flame or something, move up, charge something, hold something up in combat, but really just be there for secondaries. She has an assault weapon, so once she's down on the table, she can advance and do an action because she has an assault weapon. So again, really good at just speed 9, like 8 or 9, like really fast. So that's why she's in the list. 120 points, well worth it, because when she gets back up on a 2+, it's full wounds. So basically you're getting 2 of these models for 120 points. So that's the list. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, and then we'll get into each video, starting with 1 through 5, depending on what video your guys are on. What is up, guys? So this is the last final game of the Grand Tournament. This was the hardest game against the hardest opponent in the tournament. His list is insane. We're going to go over the list. We're going to go over picture by picture. We took a lot more pictures here, even though it was the most precise tactical game that we had throughout the entire tournament. So if you guys, again, have seen the other videos, we're going to post it in the links below, but this is game 5 of the 5-game tournament. The other games are all awesome. So this is going to be the final matchup against Aeldari / Jurkari and our Chaos Space Marines and Curse Cultists. So let's get into it. This is the list. Now, again, I'm going to be butchering a lot of the names, a lot of the units. Everybody always asks, how do you win so many games when you don't know shit about any other army? And I have no idea. That's a great question. I'm going to make a video trying to keep it simple, stupid, and hopefully it'll help a lot of people. Newer players know that you don't come into a game knowing fucking everything to win games. You just basically focus on small tactics, the core rules, and then have fun, and you will win games. So we're going to make a whole video on that. But this is pretty... I've never seen an Eldar list like this. There are some units in here that you see all the time. There's some that you never see. So help me out if I mess any of this up. Don't kill me. But we got obviously the Wraith Guard. That's the one that everybody knows the most. So we have the Wraith Guard unit with the little character that can bring a Wraith Guard back, and they can also turn a die into a 6. I think every battle round or phase, whatever it may be. We have the Eldar chick with the really long base and the cat. She gives a 4-up Feel No Pain to the unit. And also, I don't know if they have the invuln save, but she brings back D3 models in the unit, which is sick. Harlequins, troop choice with the unit, and then there's another Dark Eldar character, really good in combat, that is attached to that unit. He gives the unit fight first. So this unit right here is just such a bully unit, and we went over at the end. I'll go over tactics and tips that we both talked about at the end to get better and help each other out. So I'll go over what we should have done better at the end with this unit. But super deadly unit, hits really fucking hard, melt everywhere. Then we have 3 units of these guys, which are the move, shoot, move guys. They have really hard-hitting guns, so it's just a ton of hard-hitting guns, or blast guns, which is just perfect for Curse Cultists. It's basically D6 blast, D6 blast maybe? But basically, if you're going against a full Curse Cultist unit, it's plus 40 shots, because you get 4 dice per blast gun. So it's 30 of these guys. 1, 2, 3. Units of these guys that can move, 12, shoot, and then fucking move 6 inches afterwards. These guys are just the sniper dudes. They have infiltrate, just objective guys. 3 units of the Dark Lance tanks. They're not transports. They just have 3 of the Dark Lances, which just again blow up vehicles and really hard hitting. And then 3 squads of these 5-man Dark Eldar Dark Lance guys. So Dark Lances everywhere, Dark Lances, really just so much shooting in this list. It does a lot. So that's his list. It's just a lot of movement, hard hitting, tough to pin down unit, and he's been doing really, really well with it. Obviously, he won something similar with ACO, so he wasn't running the meta Eldar lists. So congrats to him. So this is actually, let me pull this up. Sorry, I'm going to give him his name. David Adelman. Awesome dude. So I actually looked up on ITC rankings. He's ranked 2nd, I believe, in the Northeast. I'm ranked 4th in the Northeast. So being able to beat somebody higher level than you is just such a cool thing to say. So playing him, again, last game, GT, awesome. So David Adelman, shout out to him. This is the deployment. So we have slanted deployments. Now, there's a lot of things that you should go over with your opponent. Again, me and him were very professional when it comes to deployment, setting up, agreeing, pulling out measuring sticks, lasers, everything. So he's setting up so that way my Forge Fiends can't turn 1 shoot his big units, stuff like that. So I'm going to go over what happened, how all this thing laid out. You guys can let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what we could have done better, stuff like that. Play by intent. A lot of things can come down to play by intent. Play by intent can be super easy for practice games, stuff like that. In a GT setting, last game, playing by intent is only going so far. There's some things that maybe there's a question that you didn't ask or something you didn't do where like, oh shit, I fucked up because I didn't ask that or do that one thing. So we'll get over that with the deployment. Deployment for us, we have Abaddon right in the center, behind some cover. You can't really get line of sight on anything from him. We have our Seekers here so that way they can move up and try and block turn 1 if we have turn 1. Green guys down here, they're green so that way they're Nurgle. If they are outside 12 inches, you can't shoot them. That's why they're kind of in the open a little bit. We have our Nurglings over here. We have a unit of red guys, Curse Cultists with the Forge Fiend in the back here. They're all just waiting, and I think we have cultists back here on the objective, and the other cultists are mixed up in between here. So a bunch of dudes over here trying to get out of line of sight of this unit. Cultists back here with the bikes, and then everything else up here. So he had deployment. Rangers in the building over here with the jump guys. We have boat with the jump guys. Jump guys with the trope unit right there, and the big fucking Wraith Guard unit back here. And then I think he had something back here waiting. I don't know if he had what he had back here waiting. Maybe he didn't have anything back there. I don't know. So we actually had turn 1 again. So we did the kind of something similar last game with the orcs with the move blocking. So I wanted to kind of keep everything on that side of the table. Now he does have a lot of fly. Almost his whole army is fly. So he's just going to be able to fly over and do shit like that. So what we wanted to do was our cultists hopped out here, got on this objective just to kind of hold it for 1 turn. This is what I was talking about by play by intent. He was measuring the Forge Fiend, all the angles. If I were to start my Forge Fiend somewhere down here, let me pull up the little drawing stick. So if we're starting our Forge Fiend down here, because the deployment was here, if I move my Forge Fiend here and I go this way, that line of sight is blocked. If I have my Forge Fiend go this way, this line of sight is blocked. If I have my Forge Fiend up here, this line of sight is blocked. So all of this is basically blocked off. He never asked about the Forge Fiend over here, which is where it started. So Forge Fiend started over here, which I was able to get 8 inches up right here and get line of sight to this red unit in the Wraith Guard. So right there is where they were, which I was able to get line of sight to, and this is where play by intent came into play. So what had happened was when I moved up and did that, he then procced the Aeldari strat where you get to move after the movement phase. So he was able to move them up 6 inches out of line of sight for them, but there were still like 2 or 3 guys that were actually still in line of sight of the Forge Fiend. So I let him move them up a little bit further because of play by intent. So that was the first thing. It was like literally the first move of the game. We were able to get line of sight onto something because this was not what he asked about. He asked about everything down here to do, line of sight, and I couldn't see anything, so I had to put my Forge Fiend up here to try and get line of sight onto these guys, which again I was able to, but again playing by 10, I didn't want to be a dick, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna put him out of line of sight, so I have no shooting with my Forge Fiend turn 1. All right, so Forge Fiend's out in the open turn 1, which I probably should have just kept back because he moved out of line of sight. So I was like, all right, then I'll just keep him back here, wait a turn. And then I couldn't get line of sight, so we moved some of these guys back as well. So I was able to see this unit because there were some guys here. So I was able to let him put them back here. So I couldn't get line of sight drawn over there. So that was not talking about it anymore. That's what it was. All right, so that is set up turn 1. We move our Nurglings up here so that way they can potentially charge and tie up the Wraith Guard for 1 turn. Seekers moved up and get a charge off on the boats to tie them up for turn 1 as well. Everything else kind of stayed where this was. Abaddon is waiting right here. I don't need to give the 4-up invuln save to these guys because hopefully he can't shoot me turn 1. These guys are within 6 inches of Abaddon over here, so that way I can get 4-up invuln from this unit down here because they are going to get fucking shot a shit ton by these guys. Nurglings scooted up. They are just waiting for a turn. And then these guys are holding on this objective for 1 turn, so that if he doesn't kill all of them, I can potentially hop back on the objective in my command phase to try and get it back at the top of the turn. So we charge in, we tie up these 2 tanks with the Seekers, block out most of the movement and stuff over here. The Nurglings charge in over here to tie these guys up as well. And we don't pile into the fight first guys because that's just suicide. And then that was our turn 1. All right, and this was pro play by Adelman. So what goes on here is this is where the end of the thing. So we charge these Rangers just to kind of keep them held up for a turn. So we charge in, fight him on the other side of the wall. I can't go through the wall, so we're kind of just stuck there until he falls back. These Seekers charge in and tie up all 3 boats. So we get all 3 boats in combat. Nurglings, again, same thing. We tie up this boat and then all these guys with the Nurglings. So what he does is he actually spends 1 CP, which Eldar, they have, again, all broken stuff, just like we do. They spend 1 CP to fall back, shoot, and charge. So these guys get the pile-in move, the Wraith Guard. So this is the pro play. They pile in 3 inches towards the Nurglings, so they get scooch up a little bit closer. And then they fall back this way towards my cursed cultists over here. So they fall back. These guys, the white squad, they move up to the 2nd floor up on the building, so that way they can all shoot down. They can't get line of sight to really anybody over here just because the angle. So first 2 floors, line of sight blocking, going down. So since they're super tiny and we're super tiny, he can't get line of sight to these guys. So I think he actually blows up our cultists. No, he probably just leaves our cultists. So he might have just shot these dudes over here. So what he does here is he falls back and then charges into my red squad of a Cursed Cultist, and then now they're just stuck in combat for the rest of the game. I was not expecting this at all. He basically moves up, falls back, charges, and then ties up my big ass squad over here, because I can fall back, shoot, and charge, but I'm saving that for, saving my CP for other stuff throughout the game. But he ties up basically my Forge Fiend, who has Blast, can't shoot in combat. I can shoot out of combat, but I really wanted him to kill these dudes over here. So he ties up this whole unit, steals this objective. The guys that hopped up on the second floor shot and then moved back behind the building on the bottom floor again. The Nurglings are, they probably died to this unit that moves up, charges, and just kills these Nurglings. Also, they kill the Seekers with all the shooting from the boats. These guys hop out and just nuke this green squad down here. And this is basically the end of that. So this white squad basically takes over this side of the board, because the green guys, he kills almost all but this one character right here, who's going to be in a huge importance later in the game. But everybody dies but this one character, so I can't bring back any green dudes on this side of the table. Up here, what happened last turn was Abaddon, his whole unit's right here. Abaddon scooches up 6 inches. These guys scoot up 6 inches. And Abaddon was made to go into the Wraith Guard. He actually failed the charge because he can't fall back in the movement phase because he's in combat. So Abaddon scooted up. I didn't advance. I should have advanced. Didn't advance because this guy was pretty close. So he scoots up 6 inches. And I think I have like a 6 or 7 inch charge. Fails. Rerolls. Fails. So now Abaddon is fucking right in the open, right here in the open. These legionnaires are just like here, failing the charge. All the red guys are still on this objective, like chained out to here. So there's like a bunch of dudes here, all chained out, the Wraith Guard. And yeah, that sucked. So that was a huge failed charge right there, which would have just hopefully wiped out the Wraith Guard. I didn't have to deal with them, and it freed up my red squad, freed up my Forge Fiend, and stuff like that. So on his turn 3, he brings in basically everybody. So his turn 3, he brings in the Dark Eldar guys over here to block out the backfield. Dark Eldar guys over here to block out the backfield. The tanks fall back, so this one fall back. The other tank died to shooting of the Forge Fiend that shot this way. So the one tank over here got shot by the Forge Fiend because I'm still in combat, but it's -1 to hit. Blew up the one tank. And then the other 2 are still on the table. He took out the green squad pretty easily with all the shooting from this squad that was here and this squad that was here. I rapid ingressed. I don't think I couldn't rapid ingress because I wasn't within 6 inches of Abaddon, so they would have just died to shooting. So I actually came on turn 2 or turn 3 and just try to make a 9-inch charge. If they made this 9-inch charge, it would have been not game, but it would have been so much harder to deal with this squad with only one shooting unit, because these guys, Dark Lances, Cursed Cultists, don't care about that. They just take it on the little guy and then bring him back next turn. But this squad is what they fear, just the amount of volume of shots. So if I make that 9-inch charge, definitely would have helped out take over this side of the table. I failed that charge. Abaddon failed his charge as well. So what happened on this side of the table was the Ynnari chick with the trope unit and the Dark Eldar guy right here who has to fight first. They were in combat with my Nurglings. And I think the green squad... No, they were just in combat with my Nurglings. So what I did on this turn was Abaddon scooted up and then charged through the wall over here to get into the Ynnari chick, so I can kill her first with precision. And then if I kill her first, they lose the bring D3 guys back, the feel no pain, all that stuff. So if I can kill her, that'll help me, finish off that unit pretty easily. So this is where the misplay was on my thing. I had the guys here, which I could have charged into and then consolidated into the fight first unit, which we just did a whole video on this, how to get around fight first. So I should have charged my Legionnaires into the Wraithguard unit, leave Abaddon basically where he was, and then pile in towards the closest enemy unit, which would have been the fight first unit, and then Abaddon would have been able to get around the fight first, and I'd still have attacks onto the Wraithguard with the Legionnaires. So I probably could have, killed most of this with Abaddon before Abaddon gets fought first, because I charge in that unit, so they fight first. So they pile in, fight first with all their fucking attacks. They murder all the guys and then take Abaddon down to 2 wounds. So Abaddon's on 2 wounds. He then gets the fight. He does precision. He kills the chick, and then we kill 3 of the trope guys. So he still has 2 trope guys and the fight first character, Dark Eldar. But Abaddon, again, I misplayed that by getting around the fight first. The red unit's still alive. They're just slapping each other over here. The Forge Fiend has 3 wounds left. He's just slowly shooting down the lane over here. And I probably should have spent 1 CP to fall back with the Forge Fiend, so that way he can shoot, and then fall back with the red guys. Then Forge Fiend just shoot everything into this Wraithguard unit. But that was another misplay. Other Forge Fiend over here walked in to try and get line of sight onto units over here, and I think and then he killed the Dark Eldar guys that deep struck in my table edge to try and block deep strikes. Sile had to come in back in this corner here to get behind enemy lines or investigate signals, one of the two. So I was able to fit Sile's base literally wholly in the corner over there. He sprayed and then failed his charge. No, he did an action. Yeah, he came down, did an action in the corner, so he couldn't charge that turn. He then moved his tank back, and then moved his tank back next turn and charged Sile and just held Sile, because Sile can't kill tanks. Sile is not a tank killing monster at all. So Sile's literally stuck in that corner, can't walk around the tank, can't go through it. So he's literally stuck in the corner for the last 2 turns of the game, which kind of sucks. So that was another pro play by Adelman, so that was really good with the tank to use it to block off Sile. These guys just kind of fly away. These hopping guys are literally just kind of super annoying. What he does here is he moves up his guys towards my objective and then shoots my yellow squad. But next turn, no, he moves up, shoots, and then charges my yellow squad to try and finish him off. Doesn't finish him off. He gives me free attacks in his unit, which we kill, I think 7 of them. So he basically gave me a free charge, free attacks to then pile in and get on the objective. So we pile in, and then on my turn command phase, I get onto the objective to steal this objective from him. So that was a misplay on his step. He should have just shot and then moved back to stay on the objective and wait for me to move up and get him, because then I would have lost. He would have not lost out on primary. I would have lost out on primary, and then he would have just waited a turn for me to fight back. So finally, getting to the last turn, we're taking over this objective. He has all of his shooting, moving, jumping guys dead because of this unit moving up, shooting or charging them. This last guy who was alive walked up, and I got cleanse for one of the last turns. So he was the last guy to get cleanse on the objective because we controlled it. He cleansed it over there, so they can still do the attacks. Back here, nothing's alive over here. We still have a sticky objective. Forge Fiend scooted up, is there to try and get line of sight over here. What else is still alive over here? Abaddon dies. We have a unit of red squad whittled down, but they keep coming back every command phase, so we're holding this objective down. He basically couldn't get this objective back from me, but I couldn't do anything about his Wraithguard. So since turn 1, his Wraithguard tied up my red Cursed Cultist unit for the entire game. And my Forge Fiend finally died on the last turn to just random hitting in the face with the staff of his character. Back here, he's got the Dark Eldar guys just kind of chilling on his home field objective. This guy chilling on his home field objective. Sile's still stuck in combat with the tank back here. And then there's nothing left in this corner. There's a lot of shit dead. A lot of stuff is dead. At this time, you could see he is clocked. So on turn 4, at the end of his turn, he was rushing everything because he was running out of time. So he took his turn 4, I think, with like 15 seconds left or something. So on turn 4, he had 15 seconds. I had 15 minutes. So we were able to essentially clock because of the amount of dice that he was rolling and the amount of moving, shooting, and then moving again. So his list needs to be practiced a lot. He's got a lot of reps with it, but it has to be done. And with the amount of shots, he doesn't usually have to roll 40 additional shots because of the blast. So with all the accursed cultists that we have on the table, he gets 4 shots per guy, so 10 guys, 40 additional shots plus d6. So 10 d6 plus 40 shots per 10-man squad. Going to the Curse Cults is just a ton of dice. I was trying to help him throughout the process. I let him use my dice rolling tray where I had my models in, because it was just a really thick tray to carry all my models. So he was able to roll all of his dice in there, and then I helped him pick out all the misses. And then wounding, same thing. I helped him pick out all the misses, so that way all right, this is all, here's your 30 fucking saves with the dice. So for me, it's all single dice. So I just roll all the dice together, because it's all the same 4-up invuln or 5-up invuln, and then I roll all the 6-up Feeling of Pains. I can say, all right, all these are going to go on the big guys first, and then all the little guys second, or all the little guys first, all the big guys second. But if you want to slow roll, you can, and just go kind of like, all right, these 3 are going to go on the big guy, then these 3 are going to go on the little guy, then these 3 are going to go on the big. Like, you can do it that way. But for playing a clock, you have to tell them what you're rolling in chunks. So all right, first 9 dice, first 10 dice are going to go on the 3 big guys. Boom. All right, I made 5 wounds or 5 saves. Feel no pains, I made 1. This big guy dies. This one takes 2 wounds. I roll the next 10 dice, on that. So you kind of have to do it quick, but that you have to say it as you're rolling it. You can't just roll 40 dice at once and be like, all right, I failed 10 of them. I'm going to take it on these 3 big guys first. That's out of phase. So you have to make sure you're saying it before you roll it, because you roll really hot, then you could like, all right, I'll take it on the big guys because they don't die. Or if you roll really shitty, you're like, all right, all my little guys died, which isn't good. So again, you have to say it before you roll it, especially if you're speed rolling during a clock at a tournament, last tournament or last game of the GT. So I was helping him try to do it. Still, it was just a shit ton of dice. So that's kind of why he clocked. We kept hitting clock. Like, we were both professionals on clock, like boom, 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 boom. And then every time you roll, like, I kind of wait to see what they do, because if they hit the clock on my time for me to roll the saves, because I might only have like 5 saves, I'm like, all right, boom, I roll pretty quickly, 5 saves. And then if he doesn't do it, then when he makes his saves, I don't hit his clock, because that's only fair. So I'm like, all right, you have 10 saves, and then I'll leave it on my time. He does his 10 saves, and then I continue. But he hits it on my time, so for the entire fucking game, we're literally just hitting clock, 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 clock the whole time. So you got to make sure that it's even on both sides. So if you're playing clock, I always suggest practicing on clock, even if you're playing against your buddies. It's going to get you better at repetition and getting in a tournament team like this, because if you're playing against a really good player that's really used to clock, they could win the game just based off clock. Because if they hit it over to you and then you don't hit it back, now it's on your time. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to pay attention to, not only the game and moving, but also the clock. The clock is a whole nother, I should do a video, whole nother venture in a already big roll game. So I was really good. I came from War Machine. War Machine always used the clock. So I was actually a little bit of advantage going into a clock game, but I'm also moving 100 models like he's moving 100 models. So it's kind of even on that playing field. So end of the game, this is what it comes down to. This is the final score. So this is another pro tip that I would suggest. I do old school, so I should invest in the app. But again, I don't want to mess up the app and then you don't have anything written down, because the judge is always going to agree with the guy that writes everything down over the app, because there might be one thing that you miss. Like if you miss 2-3 points in a turn, that could fucking win you the game or lose you the game. So I literally write everything out every single turn. Brian, who actually does his own spreadsheet, which he customized, and he actually has secondaries that you can write in there. So you know exactly what the secondaries are, what you spend command points are on, stuff like that. So Brian actually is really organized. I'm not really organized. I got this old school chart in front of me, but I do turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, primary, secondary. So you space it out. And then you just add up. Turn 1, I got 5 for secondary and 0. Turn 2, you got 3 for secondary and 0. And then if the little slash is you got rid of it to get a CP. 5-3, 8-0, and then 3-0. So middle of the game, I don't have the app, so I don't know what the score is. So on his turn, while he's like moving his guys, I'm sitting there adding up the score and kind of like preempting a little bit what it would be by the end of that turn. So if he picks 2 really good secondaries, I'm just going to give him an automatic like 10, whatever the points come out to be. So that way you're preempting next turn on what the score is. So by this turn, I was adding up like by turn 3. So I added up 9 for primary, and then I did 8, assuming that he was going to get 8 for the next 2 turns, which he only got 2 and 2. So he would end up with a 17. And then on turn 3, I added 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 plus, I guess, another 8. So that's what came up with 28. So I added up 28 plus 17. So that's kind of like me assuming what he's going to get. And then that's what it is. And then down here, I did the same thing for myself. So I would be winning by the end of turn 3, because I went first, 29 to 28. So by turn 3, we were almost tied by 1 point. So again, going into turn 3, you know in your head that you're tied by 1 point, so you have to pay attention. You have to try and stop primary. You have to make sure your secondaries are sound, right? So that was a little pro tip on middle of the game. Where's the score at? And Mike actually does really good with this because he uses the app and he knows exactly what the score is going into each turn. So you kind of know what you have to do, and you have to know what you have to stop. So if you're just getting tabled, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But if the game is like down by 5, down by 10, it's close down by 1, you have to be able to stop his primary and get primary, so that way you can overtake it. This primary, we had nothing in the center. So this is hold 1s on the edge for 5 points, hold 1 in your deployment zone for 2 points, and then hold the enemy deployment zone for like 6 or 8 points. So you get points for each one that you get. So this is a really hard mission. So we have to really focus on holding this one, denying that one, and then holding ours. So every turn we should be able to get 5, 6, 7. And then if we can deny him and keep him at 2, that would be the goal. Now, if I could hold these 2 and get 5, 10, 11, 12, that is more like it. But by the end of the game, I didn't start holding this until I was able to get more guys onto the objective over here. So by the end of the game, let's look at the primary. We kept him to holding his home field objective. He then held that top objective for 1 turn. I'm sorry, the bottom objective where my yellow guys were for 1 turn. His home field objective for 1 turn. And then the home field objective again for on turn 5. So he wound up with a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 for primary. I assumed 17 just to be cautious, but he had 13 for primary. And then on the secondaries, held him to a 5 turn 1, 3 turn 2, which is a really good denying of secondary, 8 and 8. So he had a really good turn 3 and turn 4. So 8, 8, and then 3. Finishes up with a 28 for secondaries, so 54 for his score. And then down here we had 7, so we were already winning on primary. Turn 2, 7 we tied, and then turn 3 is where we started to bring it open a little bit. So we had 12 for primary to his 2, and then we had 10 on turn 5 to his 2. So that was a huge swing in primary. 13 to 36 for primary, big difference. And then down here he was actually beating me on secondaries. So I had 5, 5. 5-3, we beat him by 2, but he had 8-3. He's beating me by 1, and then 8-5, beating me by another 3. So he's beating me by 4. And then turn 5, we were able to get a 10-pointer because we had plenty of clock left. He had no clock left, so all I had to do was pick 2 decent secondaries, and I can even spend a CP to get rid of one to try and get a better secondary. So we finished up with 30 out of 40 for secondaries, finishing up with a 76 to 54 score. So again, really good opponent, ranked higher than me for the ITC, won ATC, Atlantic City Open this year. So Adelman, great game. If you guys are friends with him, tell him it was a great game. We talked for like 30 minutes afterwards while we were cleaning up. I'm going to see him at UTC and probably LVO as well. So this is basically wrapping up everything. This is the award ceremony. This is my boy Brian taking the picture. We had our major kill sleeveless shirt from Night Lords, because we put Night Lords down as our army. That's Frank. He ran the tournament. Great tournament organizer. We won a little plaque, metal sheet, a couple Baron of dice, and then we got to pick battle boxes. So actually one Necron battle box, which we just sold to one of our patrons actually online. So we made our money back, which is cool. Yeah, so we spent like, I don't know, 100, I think it was like 85 for the ticket, 100 with the buffet, gas, hotel. So we probably spent around 250, and then we sold it for like $200. So we almost made our money back, but it was great. Super fun time. Got 5 games in, practiced the list for LVO. I'm not really switching anything for LVO. I think this is a good solid list. It's made for tactical. You can do fixed for it if you want, but most of the time it's going to be better for tactical. This mission, very hard for fixed, because you can't cleanse on 2 close objectives. They're super far apart. So if you had one in the center and one here, you could probably cleanse on these 2 most of the game, and then do deploy teleport homers either in the center or their deployment zone. That's usually the fixed secondaries for this mission or this army. And then for him, he usually takes fixed as well, because he's just so quick on the table. He can either kill, assassinate, he can get bring it down points, he can get into opponent's deployment zone. Like, he can do a lot. Like, his list is really good for fixed, also really good for tactical. So both of the lists are really good for tactical and fixed. Our list, there's nothing I would change about it. The thing that I would change differently, so let's go over the different changes of the list or the game. Turn 1, did not expect that. I think what I should have done with this unit turn 1 was really focus them down so I don't have to worry about them, and I could just kind of camp these 2 objectives. So if I could have just fell back with my Forge Fiend and just shot at least 1 turn into these guys for the Forge Fiend, or bring my undivided Forge Fiend on and just spend 1 CP to blow up that unit, like fall back him, and then just spend a CP to blow up the unit that was in combat with me for the entire game. That probably would have been a better play. Abaddon failing that charge, you can't do anything about it. It's a rerollable 6-inch charge, and we just happen to fail it. That would have definitely helped whittle this unit down a lot. Even if I leave just 1 guy or 2 guys alive, I probably would have tried to precision the character out, and then the rest of the attacks would have went onto the unit. So at least they can't bring guys back every command phase. So that was something else that kept them around the whole game. And then what I should have done was advance, like save the CP, advance and charge with Abaddon, just so I can at least guarantee like a 3 or 4 inch charge compared to a 6 or 7 inch charge. These guys did fine. Turn 1, they kind of helped them down a little bit. These guys, don't know if I should have kept them behind the cover and just wait a turn. That's probably what I should have done, because they wouldn't have been able to get line of sight on all of these guys. So I think I should have moved them up and just waited a turn, and then next turn just kind of, again, nobody would have this objective. It literally would just be sitting in the open. If he gives me somebody on the objective, I then advance up, charge, and then pile into somebody else. So that's probably what I should have done, is just keep these guys off the objective, because even if he kills me, I lose that objective anyway. So I gave him free shots. Should not have done that. I should have just waited behind this wall and just be like, all right, who's getting this objective? Somebody has to commit. And up here is, we already went over, I should have focused down the Wraith Guard, advance and charge Abaddon, and then on turn 3, pile in to the fight first unit instead of charge the fight first unit. So that's what I should have done. Watch the fight, how to get around fight first in that video, and that'll explain how to get into a fight first unit without them actually fighting first. Yeah, because taking out that unit is definitely key to killing this army. His thought was he should have committed these guys turn 1 more aggressively and get into back here and just have them wreak havoc, or be more defensive with them and have them not die. Them late game, they don't ever die. The revive D3 guys every single turn, 4 up invuln, 4 up invuln, 4 up feel no pain. Like, they are really, really hard to take down. And the fight first, and they hit hard, and they have Melta, and they have like they are a really good unit to take down. What else would he have done differently? Focus a unit a turn, so 2 of these squads can kill an accursed cultist unit. one of these squads, really hard to kill in a Cursed Cultist unit. If I have a 4 invuln save with the 6 up Feel No Pain, one of these guys, even the amount of shots, can't kill in a Cursed Cultist unit. 2 of them fully focused on in a Cursed Cultist unit has way more potential of killing a full unit rather than one of them. So more focus fire with 2 full units and maybe a couple of these guys in there is going to be able to focus one unit down every single turn. And if you can kill 33% of my Cursed Cultists a turn, by turn 3 or 4, I don't really have anything left on the table. And if you ignore Abaddon, that's fine, but if you go after Abaddon first, make sure you can kill Abaddon first. If you can't kill Abaddon, you put too many resources into trying killing him, plus you have to be within 12 inches to shoot him because of the Nurgle strat. That's also something you have to commit to. If you can commit to killing him turn 1 and guarantee that you can kill him turn 1, go after it, or in a turn. If you can't, don't go after it. Save him, have him expose himself. Maybe he'll fail charge like I did, and then you can whittle him down. So that is suggesting killing Abaddon. So yeah, that was a really good game. All right, guys. So that is the GT winning Cursed Cultist list we just played 2 weeks ago for the GT up in Scranton. So it was 5 games. Great layout, great tournament setting, great tournament organizer. So we're in the Northeast. If you guys want to, come out and play with the Dirtbags, we are going to LVO. So if you guys are at LVO or going or planning on going, it's definitely a super fun time. Come up to me, say hi, I'm a Dirtbag, and then I will give you a limited edition Dirtbag dice, and we just get to chat and then shoot the shit. We drink a lot of beer as well at LVO. So if you guys want to hang out with us, definitely let us know. If you guys are Patreons, you get some special perks for being a Patreon as well. So head over to that Patreon, check us out. You get first videos ahead of time. We do live streaming on live games on Patreon. We'll record them, throw them up on Patreon only. So if you guys are Patreon members, you get to see that only specifically. And if you guys are a Grandmaster Patreon, you guys get really good benefits by seeing a specific list played that you want to put on the tabletop or go against an opponent that you are having trouble with against an army that you play. So I actually get to play your army for you live on the channel. If you guys are Grandmaster, if you guys are competitive Dirtbags, you get to message me one-on-one. We go list, tactics, ideas, anything you guys want to talk about for 40k with the armies that we play. It's a huge benefit. When I was getting into the game, any game I play, I always look for like the best players and just try and ask them questions. Most of the time they're too busy, but with us, having that player in your back pocket that you can literally message anytime and get feedback or questions, no questions a bad question, ask questions strictly about the armies and game that you play is huge. Solely worth $10 a month easily. I would 100% pay that instead of buying 2 coffees a month. $1 a month and $5 a month. You guys are just supporting the channel. I really appreciate you guys being here. But the Grandmasters, you guys get just so much special treatment when it comes to playing specific stuff, lists that you want to see, as well as videos you guys want to make on the tabletop. So guys, appreciate it. Check out all the stuff, support the channel, go be a Dirtbag, and we'll see you in a lot more tactical videos coming up on the channel. Appreciate it, guys. Good luck, and we'll see you in another video soon. What's up, gents? Welcome to the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page. This is going to be support to the Dirtbag Nation. Just to give you a little insight on what we're trying to do and trying to grow into, we're trying to grow a brand name of the Dirtbag Nation, 40k Dirtbags, going all over the country and coaching people to get better at the game of 40k. We have really good coaching over at the Dirtbag Nation. Myself is ranked #1 for Grey Knights in the world last year in 9th edition. This year, we're currently ranked #1 Chaos Space Marine player in the world on ITC 40k rankings. So we have a lot of experience over at the channel, and a lot of the coaches are going to start joining in and joining the Dirtbag Nation to help you guys get better at 40k. If you guys are new to the Patreon page, we have a couple different tiers. The first tier is the $1 tier. That's basically just coming over, supporting us for $1 a month. You get first access to the Dirtbag videos up on Patreon. The next tier is a $5 tier. Basically, you get first access as well as just have a little bit more branding with the Patreon Discord page. And you want to support us a little bit more than $1 a month. I really appreciate both you guys. The $10 tier is the competitive Dirtbag page. That's where we get more into the tactics, one-on-one coaching on the Discord. And if you guys have any questions, comments, list ideas, tactics, or game questions, you guys get to message us one-on-one through Discord. Make sure you take advantage of that because it's completely up to you to ask me any questions you possibly need in the 40k community. finally, we have the Grandmaster Dirtbag. That dirtbag is above and beyond. They come out and they basically want us to coach them one-on-one with calls on via Discord, TTS games, battle reports, or any tactical videos that you guys want suggestions to. You guys will get first access to, and we actually play live games for you guys, or go over battle reports for our Grandmasters. Anything armies that you want to see specifically on the tabletop, that's the Grandmaster Dirtbag page. So it's just an explanation on what the different tiers are for Patreon. But again, thank you so much for the support. If you guys are thinking about it, you do have really good coaching. We drink beers, we have fun, we just kind of chill out and teach you guys how to have fun at 40K, unlike some other people on YouTube. But have fun at 40K, be good, win some games, more than you're averagely winning over there all over the world. And if you guys really just want to support the channel, we have our $1 and $5 a month as well. There's all the stickers and dice available to you guys at a discount, and you have your own Patreon tab in Discord that nobody else has access to besides you guys. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support. We're going to grow Dirtbag Nation as much as we possibly can in 2024 and get it all thanks to you guys. Appreciate it.